Okay, now we're going to talk briefly about Plusonpoint process models. These models are fairly similar to GLMs in a lot of ways, and actually you can essentially use a GLM as a Plusonpoint process model or a Maxent model as a Plusonpoint process model with a few modifications. The fundamental difference is instead of trying to model directly the binary presence, absence, or presence background for your species, Plusonpoint process model says there's this thing called intensity, which is the expected number of presence records per unit area. And the Plusonpoint process model is modeling the intensity directly, not the presences and absences. The presences and absences are sort of a thing that comes out of this intensity. The intensity itself is that expected number of presence records per unit area. So to visualize this, okay, here's your pluses and minuses. Well, there aren't any minuses on here, but here's your pluses. And we'll say there's, there's a different number of presences here, for instance, than there are here or here. And a Plusonpoint process model says, okay, along this gradient, well, here we've got time, but this could be an environmental gradient. Along this gradient, there's some continuous function that is varying that generates a probability of observing, a probability distribution of observing a certain count within a certain limited area. So here where its intensity is high, or rate in this case is what it's called, here where the rate is high, you're getting a lot of points, and where the rate gets lower, you have fewer points. And so we're not modeling ones and zeros on these points. We're modeling this spatially varying intensity here called rate. The process of doing that is actually pretty much the same as doing a GLM, however. You can actually fit them in Maxent. There's a paper on this basically saying, hey, you know what, you Plusonpoint process models are great, and you could actually do them directly in Maxent. And basically it boils down to don't delete your repeated occurrences. I can't remember if there were any tweaks of it on top of that, but it kind of mostly boiled down at least to don't delete your duplicates. E&M Tools does Plusonpoint processing modeling, Plusonpoint process modeling. Now we do it via the ppm lasso package. So this is for Plusonpoint process model with the lasso. And if you remember the lasso from Maxent, this is the thing that actually sort of does kind of automatic variable or predictor selection, basically. So these ppm lasso things, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge expert in Plusonpoint process models. This is something that Russell, the other main author of E&M Tools, knows more about than I do. But ppm lasso is basically doing Plusonpoint process modeling while using the lasso to do variable selection. And so we've implemented this in E&M Tools, and you'll see it in a little bit when we start doing exercises.